For most people, dreams full of flowers and sunlight are happy. For me, they seem like nightmares. You see, after you've lost your job, been left at the altar and have basically become a plaything of the fates, you start to dread anything happy, realising that happiness lasts only a moment before it disappears. And anyway, I've always thought the colour black suited me best. So there I was, resigned to a dark and dismal future, and then came the post. I've just received news of your misfortune. Though it was inevitable, your husband's bankruptcy must still come as a huge shock. My only regret is that you didn't heed my advice all those years ago. I shy from reminding you that I foretold that marrying George would end in despair. All I can do now is to assure you that in me you have a true and loyal friend. I still love you as I did when we were both young and perhaps less foolish. Yours forever, John. I sat bemused for about 10 minutes, wondering what this was about, why this letter had been sent to me. Not to mention the fact, who on earth is John? Deciding that it was obviously some kind of mistake, I pushed the letter firmly to the back of my mind and forgot about it, until the next day at least. The next day I did it all again. I woke up, put on my dressing gown, went downstairs and made myself breakfast. Then the post came, and again there was a mysterious letter. Dear Rose, your maid Sarah has just sent me a letter telling me of your present state. I cannot express how much it angers me that you've determined to wallow in self-pity. You may be in dire straits, but the Rose I love wouldn't admit defeat that easily. Depression only leads to more depression. It's to this end that I've decided to keep up a daily correspondence with you. Hopefully it will raise your spirits somewhat. Look for my letter tomorrow. All my love, John. P.S. Don't scold Sarah too harshly. She was worried about you. Needless to say that this letter only added to my confusion. It raised more questions than it answered. Most importantly, I still don't know who John is. Anyway, I decided it would be interesting to read John's next letter. The next morning I woke up a bit earlier and found myself waiting for the post to arrive. I waited half an hour before admitting defeat and going to make some tea. Then I heard the familiar click of the letterbox and ran to grab the letter I was looking for. Dear Rose, you see now how I have kept my promise of writing to you daily. I know how long letters bore you, so I'll try to keep to the point. My objective is to pry you out of your melancholy state and tell you to be of good cheer. I'll try to guide you into a happier state. Firstly, you must take yourself out of that dark room. Secondly, the rest of this letter was devoted to John's pointers on how to become happy again. Disturbingly, I found his advice rather appealing. I started looking forward to the next day's letter and the advice that would come with it. Wear bright clothes, keep your room light and airy, and keep fresh flowers near you. Alright, they may be fake, but they'll still do the job. The letters had a healing effect. Slowly I started to feel the fog lift and become the vibrant person I'd once been. though all the while I couldn't help but wonder where these letters were coming from. My curiosity was to end the next day. I received the letter as usual, but this time the handwriting on the envelope was different, tidier. I opened the letter and began to read. Dear Rebecca, I'm so sorry. You can thank my 10-year-old daughter for the mix-up. I'd intended to send you all of my great-grandmother's letters together, and had even sent them out in chronological order. Lucy, my daughter, decided to help by posting all the letters separately. I hope this doesn't delay the research for your book. It was then that I realised that the letters must be for Rebecca Darkfeld, the not-so-famous author. As I read the rest of the letter, it became apparent that this Rebecca was writing a romantic novel about a Victorian love affair, and had wanted these letters for reference. The letters were to a Rose Clarendon, a Victorian socialite who had shocked the world by eventually leaving her bankrupt husband for her childhood sweetheart. I rang the contact number on the letter and spoke to Rose Clarendon's granddaughter, telling her about the mix-up of address. She told me that, while being helpful, her daughter must have used the directory to look up the address of R. Darkfeld and got the wrong one. I made arrangements to send all the letters back. And that was that. The letters, albeit not intended for me, had had a profound effect. I'd become positive about life again, and to think, all because of a mix-up. Perhaps I really was a plaything of the fates. Well, a plaything of a 10-year-old child at least.